It was the first day. I said, why don't we go for a date? And she was not ready for that.
Every time niki-reject kitu, he never used to understand that I don't want the same thing that he wants.
I was even doubting whether it is going to work because my previous relationship was toxic.
The same day when his parents came to meet my parents, we realized, oh, we are pregnant.
I, Bianca Wawera Modoko, do take you, Joseph Motuko Musioka, to be my lawful wedded husband.
I promise to love you, comfort you, and care for you for better, for worse,
for richer, for poorer, in sickness, in health, and forsaking all other men to cleave to you.
May God Himself help me to do all this.
My name is Bianca Wawera Motuko. I am a businesswoman, and I have several businesses here, and they are different businesses. I've been married for 5 years now.
My name is Joseph Musioka. I'm a flight captain rated with Airbus 330. Actively flying and still doing business here and there in different countries.
It looked like he is a very strict person, and my mind was set for business, so I thought, oh, this is a very busy person, he's so strict, he didn't
everything flew from the same direction which we were discussing. And from that perspective, then I realized that this may be the right person because she is patient, she is loving. The dating process was a real process. Let me just put it that way. It was the other person. Let me just put it that way because every time, for instance, you can't call me as a flight captain, sometimes you may travel. Not all the countries you go, you find that you have enough network for the same service provider in your country. So it becomes a challenge because if you are not able to reach me, then you start complaining that I may have another woman or I am going out with other person. So it was not an easy thing. And I mean, to explain to someone to understand may be a very difficult thing. And I tried to explain, I tried to nurture the relationship, it was not working. So the other individual was the one who was doubtful and who was not ready to get married. In fact, in several occasions, she was like, I'm not ready to get married. Give me more time. And then now they started another funny relationship with another guy they were working with. So I mean, I was facing a lot of challenge in terms of maintaining that relationship, and that meant me to go in a very bad shape. In one stage, in fact, she carried everything from my house, so I had to start again from zero, and that was not an easy thing for me. And because I was looking for someone, a partner and a life partner for the sake of my life, I had to bring her back to the house and start another relationship afresh. We sat down and said, this is how we want to work together, how we live together. But unfortunately, after 2 months again, she carried everything. So I started again from zero. When I got hold on her, then I thought, because one, she was patient for the first day we met and she listened. So I thought it's the right move which I need to take.
So every time Nikki reject kitu, he never used to understand that I don't want the same thing that he wants. So yeye alikuwa nakasirika. He used to be that kind of a person. If he calls you and you don't pick up the call, anakugombanisha.
I mean, it was the first day. I said, why don't we go for a date? And she was not ready for that. In fact, she continued to keep me like on toes in terms of you have to wait.
No wedding, yes. We stayed for 1 year and some months, and then we started planning for a white wedding.
You start giving direction of you can't come here around 8. Sometimes she goes to the chairman and they come to the house at the middle of the night. But I'm happy because I know the people she is with, they are responsible and good people.
Now, after having our traditional wedding, we stayed for it was so easy on our side. The highlight of the wedding day was my gown first. I remember the gown made me realize how bad I wanted a wedding. Because you know, when you're a little child, a little girl, unaangalia harusi za wenyewe and you're like, wow, bibi harusi. So after I got my gown, that is when I realized that, wow, this is the best thing that I have done to myself. Thinking about something, and then in future, Mungu amenisaidia, I am in a white gown. So that was the first thing. And secondly was the church, of course, saying the vows.
As long as both shall live.
Somo yake sasa Sema katika jina.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, that was okay. That was also something. It meant a lot to me, and now the reception, the dancing, the friends. We got a lot of support from our pastors. I would say our wedding was my perfect dream wedding. Yeah, everything was what I wanted it to be.
As a man, for the highlight of the wedding may not be a very positive feedback, because you have stress, you have a lot of pressure from all corners of the world. So, in fact, I was just laughing with my wife the other day when I was telling her that I did not know some of the songs which we were played and we danced, that they were played during our wedding. So, for men, we tend to look at it like the time you are saying the vow, that's only the highlight which you can really remember, and maybe the dance after the photo shoot, and the reception, the time you are at least having dance at the reception, the dance floor, the decoration was also perfect. That was my good view of everything, because the decoration was not what I expected, it was more than what I expected. Yeah, so I mean, in fact, our best couple kept on saying we need something which is much unique, and in fact, she forgot to say that our best couple, the husband, kept on telling us that marriage works,
Yeah.
and that motivated us to have the wedding as well. So generally, I think everything to me was more or less of a highlight of
And that's our love story.